Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, but it's not a brand new story. It's quite a familiar tale, as we've all got a familiar feeling right now. Not only was it a disappointing draw or some drop points versus Aberdeen, but it's some drop points after the team ahead of us, Celtic, dropped points the day before, you know what I mean? It's Groundhog Day, and aye, that's why I feel weird about this game, because there is so much frustration, but then there's a slight hint of relief because of the way it ended, sprinkled with again a wee bit of Sam Lammer's frustration right on the top, just to really tip us there the edge. And it's weird, it's a hard game to actually break down because we got the point at the end of the day. We did score a 94th minute penalty, but in my personal opinion, we shouldn't be relying on a penalty in the 90th minute like, say, Aberdeen, to beat the type of teams that's in this league. With what we've got available and the players and the way they get paid, they should be a hell of a lot better than what we actually seen today. And there is that feeling of familiarity, and that's why I imagine there'll be a lot of comment section. It'll be mixed. There'll be loads of different feelings. There'll be pissed off and angry because we threw an opportunity away that Celtic gave us in yesterday's game, and I completely understand that. But on the flip side, there will be a lot of people like myself that knew something like this is going to happen because we've seen it too many times. We can have our fun, we can all do our jokes and everything like that, but we all know there is players in this team that just can't take us to where we want to go. Good players in moments, good flashes here. They've done this, I get it, but they can't be a part of a winning Rangers machine, and it's proven constantly and time after time after time. I mean, fool me once, fool me twice. What are we up to now with certain individuals with the likes of Barisic's? When the game gets tough, you can hear that guy's arse clapping. He's no the only one. There's boys in that team. I love the Connor Goalsons and everything he's put in, and what an improvement he was on the defenders we had. He got absolutely roasted the day, and we need to call out the way we started this game of football was genuinely embarrassing to me, given what happened yesterday, given the opportunity, given the opponent. And that takes me to another topic, right? Because I know a lot of people, and I see it online already, and people saying, well, Aberdeen always treat this as a cup final. Look at this, they're doing this, they're celebrating tackles, they're celebrating this. Is it embarrassing? Or is it a team that's just wanting to win a game of football? Do you know what I mean? You can keep saying, Aberdeen wanted this, they're right up here, they give absolute everything, treat it like a cup final. I look at it as a Rangers fan saying, why as a Rangers team can we know and meet them right there? Why are we know treating the game like a cup final? Why is it no as important to us than it is to the Aberdeen players? Do you know what I mean by that? We can keep using it, we can keep hitting that drum and saying this and this and this, but if we treated the game, if the Rangers players went on that part and treated the game the same way the Aberdeen boys would, we wouldn't be dropping points, we wouldn't be starting as badly as that, we wouldn't be a mile off it to start. So for me, we can keep using the excuses and keep laughing and saying this about Aberdeen and this about Aberdeen, but the fact remains is when you pull on a Rangers shirt, you should be treating every game like that, and we just didn't, and I just don't understand it. I really didn't. Maybe they've just not got it in here, maybe they've just not got it in here, but it was another slow, ponderous start versus an Aberdeen side. And again, none of that's on Clement, and again, I said that under the previous managers as well. It's some of these players just have to go now. The only difference was the previous managers continued to play those players after they failed them, and Clement has come in and says all he saw is positive things so far. He wants to see how these players handle the negative results and the bad results and the bad times, who stands up and can be encountered when everything is gone wrong, and who shrinks and falls away. That is something he talked about when becoming Rangers manager, and for me, this game of football is where he saw people stand up and try to grab the game, and then he saw what he needs to see if he wants to be a successful Rangers manager, those who are going to continue to let him down and let this team down. So I think it's clear I'm very frustrated about giving away the points, but whether Celtic drop points or no, you know for a fact I'd have been absolutely fuming at this result either way, you know what I mean? It's no because Celtic drop points that I'm sitting here annoyed. I don't care who we're playing. You know what I mean? I was disappointed we weren't beating Ajaxes and we were absolutely class in each game, right? It's just, I see Rangers, I want us to do well, and especially in Scottish football with what we've got available, we should be doing a hell of a lot better. So I look at it on an each game basis, I focus on that game, and we just simply weren't good enough for the large majority of the game. And I feel like it's hurtful and negative and poor and depressing, but it's what Clement needs to see, and I feel like now we finally have a manager that's got something about him that can identify that. Now he's seen who's failed him, and I think he needs to do it, and that's what I get for this game of football, right? We can talk about this and this and this, and we'll all do it in today's video, but this game right here, this result right here is a reminder to something that every fan tuning into this video already knows. We need to clear the decks with certain individuals because they can't take us to where and who we want to be. And before I really dive into individuals, because there is individuals that need to be called out, and the longer you watch you will hear that, to give my thoughts overall on the game, as weird as it sounds in the way that I've started today's video, there is that slight bit of relief buried in to the frustration because we managed to grab a point the day, you know what I mean? This looked like the classic case of one of those games. Sitters missed, dominating the majority of the second half, hitting the bar not once but twice, save after save for us. You're thinking to yourself, well, it's just one of these days, and it's absolutely pathetic, it's raging. Then we end up grabbing a point, and as gutting as it is to drop points, and I always want to see this Rangers team be successful, our only little tiny bit that we can take for it is we didn't fall any further behind. Clement might have learned a lesson, and hopefully has learned a lesson, because if it flipped the other way, if we had dropped points yesterday and Celtic dropped points today, we're all saying we got away with that one. I know we did miss an opportunity away to close the gap in there, but it's a very long season, and maybe, just maybe, can be something we can look back at and say, aye, okay, ugly, terrible game. We grabbed the point, we matched what Celtic done that weekend that gave us a platform to go on and do what we done the next again weekend or the next again weekend. That's the only way you can really take, if you want to try and take something away with a slight bit of positivity. We managed to take a game that looked dead and buried 90 minutes onto the clock for the large majority of that game, and we managed to grab a point at it. I'm not going to sit and cheerlead it. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say that I'm buzzing with it, but we take the point, we need to move on for it, and hopefully again Clement's learned some lessons and make some big decisions, some big players who just can't get us to where. And I feel like talking about the players before we start narrowing in on the Rangers, then I want to give a wee bit of credit to one Aberdeen player, and that's Majowski. We've talked about him a lot on the channel over the last couple of years. I've been very, the last year, we've been very impressed with him. I've talked about that quite a lot on the channel, and it does bring me a familiar thought that I've been having. I've been sort of pondering to myself and everything like that. I didn't always talk about it in videos, but if you look at it, for me as a Rangers fan, we find ourselves in a position that we can't argue with Celtic fans and say, your striker's better than your striker's this, who's got the best attack, this guy's better. We should be doing it. That should be the conversation that's happening. But me, in my personal opinion, you can shout at me and tell me I've absolutely lost my mind or no, but where we sit right now, and with our club, minus Danilo, who again has come in and played really well, scored some big goals, added something to the attack that was absolutely limp and embarrassing for the majority of the season, coming back from such a serious injury. Minus him, taking him off the table and sitting him right frickin' there. You look at our other strikers, I think Majowski's a better goal scorer and a better striker than what we've got to our books. I think we are in a position as a football club that the 8th place team, Aberdeen, have a better striker on their books than we do on ours, minus again Danilo. And the likes of Shankland as well for Hearts. We're in a position that both Aberdeen and Hearts have better goal scorers in their team than us, and if that's not a damning statement, troops, I don't know what else is. You can disagree with it you want, you can tell me I'm miles off it, but I look at the other players, the likes of the Lammers and the Dessers and everything we've got, I sit and look at it, I'm just like, they're just no goal scorers, you know what I mean? And that's why I was so annoyed, and I know we've gone back to the Cholak thing, everyone's sick and tired of hearing it. We had a goal scorer in our team, but everyone moaned because what? He didn't run about, he didn't twist and turn, didn't bring the ball into anybody else, he didn't do that. You know what he did? Scored goals. He finished joint top goal scorer, and he got 15 goal contributions in 25 SPFL games. The SPFL is the most important thing to us in a season, and that boy scored when he was given an opportunity, but we kicked him out the door to bring in boys who fit style, play prettier football, that can twist and turn and do this and do. Who cares about anything else about putting the ball into the back of net? Football is changing into this thing I didn't understand. The hardest job in football is putting the ball into the back of your net, so guys that can do it should be a priority. The other pretty guff stuff that Disney actually matter. We as Rangers Football Club should never be in a position where a fan has to sit there and say and argue and look at players for teams 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 6th, 5th better strikers than what we have got on our books, and that's the way we've built our squad. That's the thing we've signed off in, and again, it's still early in the season for this guy and this guy, but looking at Lammers, what an opportunity he had the chance to turn his Rangers career like that. But honestly, did anyone think he was going to score it? Because we scored a penalty in the 94th minute, we had an opportunity, we Rabbies ran for his own half, sprinted, put it on a platter for the boy, and he's just, right, straight at the goalkeeper. Nothing about that. That's someday, that is just who he is, Trips. And I know people say, oh, it's very early in his Rangers career. He has scored 2 goals every season for the last 4 seasons. It's not just 24 games for us so far that he scored 2 goals. He scored 2 goals the year before, the year before, the year before. This is who he is, and if we're going to continue to put him in the positions and the chances and the options to win a game like that, that is the results we're getting. Think back to Parkhead, think back to this. The points flung out the windies, oh yeah, the shops, and it's what we've done. We've brought in these players, we've put them in the areas, we've given them the opportunities, and they're failing. And listen, I'm not just digging out Lammers here, it also is a part of the conversation that you look at who never came on the day. This is what I'm talking about, how bad we are attacking. Even when the game looked lost, dead and buried, we're chasing the game, it's last chance saloon, you're firing everything in the box, you're giving this 85th, 86th, 87th, right up to the 90 before we go that penalty kick. We've got our big money signing sitting on the bench doing nothing. That's what we've brought in to the team. Clement didn't look to Dessers at all, even for a minute. Even a minute when we're firing balls in. He doesn't trust the big lad to go out there and do nothing. And that was Michael Beale's #1 target in the actual summer. Again, it's no Clement's fault. He's never signed off in any of these. But this is what I'm talking about, with how limp we are attacking wise. If we didn't improve that in January, and I don't care what people say, oh, Shankland's not a sexy name. He's Scottish. He plays Scottish football. He plays Scottish football's important. You know what I mean? Scottish football is what matters the most. See if they're scoring goals in Scottish football for the teams like the Heartseas and the Aberdeens and the Hibsies and blah, 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 blah. See if they're scoring goals and hitting double digits year upon year in their teams where they barely sniff the ball and get 1 or 2 chances a game. Can you imagine what they could possibly do when they're getting 5 or 6 opportunities in a Rangers team that's going to dominate 99% of the games? Well, you didn't need to. Just look at a long history of successful Rangers teams, and you'll see players who's came through the Scottish game, who's maybe played for another Scottish club, that knows where they put the ball in the back of net, and they brought success to this football club. I know it's no sexy, I know it's no this, and I know it's no a name for elsewhere that sounds cool on a poster or a part of a song, but there's goal scorers in this league that if we want to be successful, we need to go and get in January, because if we didn't, what we've brought in are boys that's not just showing this year because they're new to Rangers, they've shown year upon year upon year that they didn't score goals, and goals wins you games, games wins you titles, and titles makes you a successful club. And it's no surprise to me we've not been lifting. So I guess that's my way of saying I am frustrated about how people talk down certain players in Scottish football and talk down this or this and say, nah, we need to go here and not to go here. No, we need goal scorers badly. Or these results, when everything doesn't go our way, or if we start hitting the bars and we only get a couple opportunities, we'll continue to throw away points. Badly needing an opportunity, and badly needing a goal scorer. It's just a shame again we kicked the goal scorer by the name of Cholak out the door in the summer. What a player he could have been under Clement, ironically ticking the boxes to everything Big Phil actually wants. But you're sick to death of hearing me say all that. We'll move on, but that is one area we need to improve, as is the defence. Trips, you know what I mean? 3 of the back 4's been here for a long time, and I really like Tavernier. You know what I mean? The Stones to step up, taking the penalty. I like Goalsson. Barisic is there as well, and it's just a familiar story. You know what I mean? Whoever rotates at left centre back, it's the same story every tight game. I thought Goalsson was dreadful today, and I didn't want to be saying that I like the laddie a lot, but he was dreadful the day. Majowski wore him like a raincoat. Trips. Barisic is Barisic, you know what I mean? The 87, and this is where I compare it, right? Because you can talk about this, and I know Tavernier gets held up and he gets slapped in by everybody, and everybody hates him, and everybody this and this. And I've voiced my opinion on certain performances for Tavernier where I've sat here and says, sorry, it's no good enough. A wee bit of random hair hitting the old Nasher right there. I've looked at it and said, oh, it's no good enough. He's not been here. It's been a poor performance. I call him out when he needs to, but these types of games, to step up in the 94th minute is a perfect example of the difference between him in Barisic. Stepped up, put it away, put it in the back of your net, right? Big moments, big players, created a couple of opportunities, should have had a couple of assists if Balogun knew how to head a fit ball. You look at the other side, and this is the problem with this football club, right? Barisic on the left, in the 83rd, I think it was the 86th and the 88th minute, has 3 opportunities to put the ball into the mixer. 3 of them, troops. There is 6 Rangers players in the box. It's last chance. Barisic is one of the best crossers I've ever seen. When he's at it, I've never seen anybody put a spin on a ball at him. But when it's crunch time, again, the guy's arse is clapping. Because the first time, he cuts in on his weak foot and tries a shot from 35 yards out that goes out almost for a throw-in. The second opportunity around the 86th minute, he doesn't even get it off the grunt, and Aberdeen easily clear it, fluffs his line. And his third opportunity, he's bricking himself. He's just bricking. What do you want me to say apart from the truth? He's terrified. He doesn't want to cross it. He's fluffed too. So he tries to cut back. He tries to pass it back and gives Aberdeen the ball. 88th minute of the game. This is the problem. We need guys that can take the moment. Tavernier, for all his faults, is willing to stand up there and be counted. We need other players to meet him up there if we are going to be successful. And again, I'm not just picking on the Barisics or anything like that, but I need to say what I saw, and what I saw is something I've seen too many times. Continued failure. When the big moments come, he shrinks is invisible. And I can only hope if Clement stays to his word and sees who shrinks and who stands up and everything like that. But Barisic has moved on. Again, I didn't saying I want somebody to fail on a range, so I always want to be a success. And I hope to God when he plays his next game in European football, because obviously he's needed, we don't have anybody else, that he has a great game. And I'll be cheering and I'll be hoping he does well. But in this vacuum, in this game, he was a real liability all afternoon. And the worst thing you could say is that it spread through the squad. Lunny had a weird day, you know what I mean? Like, some things he done really well, like he made 2 big tackles to stop them from sprinting in behind, especially as Balogun, 56th minute, just got lost. Lunny had to sprint, win the ball back, or it's probably 2-0 to Aberdeen. Jose has been getting roasted online, but I thought he done... You know what was weird about Jose for me? He never done anything great, but he never really done anything. He just kind of done his job in that role. Maybe we needed him to kick in and do something else, but he's not played a lot of football. I didn't think he was as bad as a lot of people online's actually making it, but the spine couldn't really grapple the game until the second half and until we were actually behind. But there's another player that I really like, that I feel like I need to talk about, because we could talk about the Lammers, we could talk about the Barisics, we could talk about the Goldsons, the Taverniers, the regular targets in that, but there's a name that I need to talk about, and that's Todd Cantwell. For me, I thought he was dreadful the day. Like, genuinely, put one good cross in there. I feel like if Sima's doing his job, or to be fair, it's not even his job. He's not an out-and-out striker. If I've got an out-and-out striker in there helping Daniil out, who's made a good backwards run, there's another guy in there, he's getting a tap in. But that was it for Cantwell, and it was quite embarrassing the dive he done the day. I know it's not nice to call, and people didn't always like calling out Rangers players, but I didn't want to see that for a Rangers boy, you know what I mean? Fair enough, if there's contact and you feel it, or if you're protecting yourself, fair enough, go down. But the boy threw himself in the deck the day, and I was mortified, if I'm honest. And he's so good, like, he's such a talented football player. He doesn't need that. He's starting to bite. Players are starting to nip into his ear. He's starting to react. He's starting to take himself out of what he's good at, and that's being a tremendous football player and get involved in the arguments and the wee kicks and the wee nudges and the wee pulls. Something very similar to early Morelos, where he would always react. Cantwell's getting to that, even though he wasn't doing that last season. He's got to understand he's being kicked and pulled and spoke to and this and this and this because they fear him, because he's a good player. He should be taking that as a compliment, getting the chest out and saying, right, I'll prove it to them, not reacting and getting lost in all the drama and everything like that. I don't know what he was doing the day, and it was such a weak area at the park. And wee Ross came on, what was it, late into the game, I think it was around the 7th, 8th minute, and what a difference in the right hand side. And that's a young lad who's barely played 6 games versus someone who was a fax machine away from joining Liverpool for about 30 million a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? Todd's got talent, Todd's really got it, but he needs to start tuning in and finding his own play and getting stuck into playing football, not getting involved in the wee silliness, because they're only doing it, mate, because you're a great footballer and you can hurt them, but you're not hurting them when you're falling in and out of games and you're flopping like a fish and you're arguing and picking up silly bookings. Get back to doing what you do, and that's playing football and being a dangerous attacking player. Now, whether it is moving them centrally and bringing in more pace, that could be an argument. For me, it'd be Lawrence, Cantwell Lammer, sorry, that wasn't intentional. I genuinely just went like that there and I went too far out the camera. That would be the order. If everyone's fit and firing, Lawrence in the hole, then it's Cantwell, then it's Sam Lammers. Because what happened late in the game when we really started creating chances is Ross was running at them, which pushed them back, that allowed Tavernier to go into the space, and Tavernier running into that space is always so dangerous. But when you take that away, Tav's got a man on him, and I know it's a very common thing to say, play him as a winger. He's not a winger. He doesn't kind of beat people. He can't get beyond people. He's very good at arriving into the space and punishing the space and getting in there, attacking, but he doesn't create his own space. He needs that guy ahead of him, and Cantwell was just an out factor all damn day, and it was really, really disappointing to see, and I was very surprised he wasn't subbed off at half time, if I'm being brutally honest. But again, being brutally honest, he wouldn't have been the only one, as I thought Sima had his worst game in a long time. I've been really championing that laddie for a while, and Danilo missed chances as well. So again, it's not an individual, it's not hanging, but it's a common theme with this Rangers team. We just never matched Aberdeen's intensity. I don't understand why. I don't know why we're surprised. I don't know why we didn't adjust to them starting quickly and getting on our first touch. I don't know why we limped into this game the same way. Or actually, it's the players and their mentality, and they've shown us it time after time. And if you can't pick up, so I have absolutely no idea if this video's made any sense, people. I just wanted to voice my opinion. Again, it's no just ranting for the sake of ranting, and I'm not losing my mind. Again, this point could be important. It could fill us in a certain way and get Phil on this and Phil doing this. It could be an important draw because of the way the game actually unfolded, scoring a last minute equaliser. But at the same time, as for me as a Rangers fan, with what we've got available, what we can play on a park week in and week out, it shouldn't take a 94th minute penalty. But it's games of football, it's no all sunshines and rainbows. That's us had a wee bump now. It maybe feels worse because Celtic dropped points yesterday, but let's be honest, this result would have been a hell of a lot worse if Celtic had won actually yesterday and fell further behind. So maybe the banana skin of Aberdeen, Ipitodry versus Rangers, we maybe, just maybe, go away with the day. We can hopefully go on and build. But I wasn't impressed with our attitude in the first 45 minutes, where I'd argue it was pathetic, as we were shocked and beat by every long ball into the air. But I'll try and wrap up the game very quickly as we transition into the game recap, because the goal, 3 touches, goalie, big header, Majowski burying it. It is Sunday League football. It really, really is. But it's a tremendous finish by Majowski, and it's even worse defending for Rangers. And they had a scare earlier on, just a couple minutes later, as the two of them leave too much of a big gap. I think is his name Scholar? I don't know if I'm mispronouncing that. I do apologise. It was his first start. He actually played pretty well. Sprinted through, and Jack Butland's had to pull off a phenomenal 1v1 save 4 minutes into the game. And I'm thinking, Big Jack's done it. He saved us there. Right, Rangers, let's wake up now, boys. That's them had their start, but we never. A couple minutes later, honestly, they didn't need to part the Red Sea. It was already parted for Majowski. Header ran through, great finish, leaving Butland no chance. But it's just embarrassing for the Rangers end. Yes, we eventually, after about 24 minutes, started creating chances. Lawrence had a wee flick on target. Danilo does well with his left foot to kind of snatch a shot that's very well saved by Ruse. But why is it taking 25 minutes for a Rangers team, after the title rivals had just dropped a couple points the day before, and to go behind to actually start playing football? Why? That's what I've got to ask. The big chances eventually came after Sima whipped in a phenomenal ball with his left foot right into Balogun's head. It's a free header. It's got to be in the back of it. I'm telling you, every single Scottish hammer thrower, you can say what you want about them in this league, is putting that into the back of net, but we just didn't have any luck. You know what I mean? The only luck we've got is no luck, is Balogun right to the keeper. You can say it's a good save, but I give Ruse credit. I think he is a very good goalie, but it's hit him. It's right at him. You know what I mean? Anywhere else is busting the back in it. It's a poor header. I call that a sitter. And then Lunny's kind of rebounded header's got no pace on it because it's kind of deflected up. It's no real big opportunity, that one. So, that was the main opportunities in the first half. We had obviously a couple wee ifs, maybes and buts, but what's the point of talking about? Let's get into the second half, where I was still confident, because I really thought Aberdeen gave everything. I thought, right, we're going to dominate this first half now. They've punched themselves out. We need to get back in it early and go ahead for a killer. And we had the opportunity. 48th minute, Lawrence, beautiful through ball, down the right hand side to Danilo. The angle's tight, the goalie's there and the defender. He's tried to just flick it around the goalie, but that one is a good save by Roos in my personal opinion. But what a chance that was. What a chance. What a chance. What a chance was the story of the second half, as we continued to have ifs, we had continued to have maybes, but we never got anything. We're jumping a wee bit into later on in the game, as we had even a couple through balls, troops, to like Cervantes plays a wonderful ball and Lawrence just bounces ahead of him. Lawrence then chips a ball out to Jose, just goes behind them. You're saying, nah, everything's skipping away here. Aberdeen's maybe getting the luck of the bounces. You know what I mean? That ball that Cantwell put in, the defender's trying to slide it. It's gone into the back of net. If he touches it, he misses it by that. You're playing that in your head. You've seen the story. It's football. We know how this goes. Then we hit the bar, and I'm going, Lawrence, phenomenal technique, phenomenal skill, right across the bar, and you're thinking, I was actually shouting for him not to shoot, by the way, because I thought it was a wasted effort, but it shows you what a duffer I am as well. But it was ridiculous effort, hits the bar, and you're thinking, well, there's the bar, and your head's in your hands. We get the corner, we whip the corner in, you look up, and we've hit the bar again. Balogun, free header, meets it perfect, anywhere on target, it's in. He hits the goalie with this one. He's putting the goalie through the net like it's a Looney Tunes sketch. But unfortunately for us all, the only thing he does hit is the bar. And that is bread and butter for a centre half. Every centre half has a head like a cinder block. That there is as easy as you're going to get. And when that hit the bar, I thought, that's it. It's done. It's done. We started to make some changes again. Cervantes came on. Lammers came on. We had wee Ross come on. We made a couple wee changes, but nothing really created the big moment of the game, I'd say, until a corner comes in, and it's becoming a familiar story, especially in Scottish football. It's a clear and obvious tug, and aye, this is where football actually is now. They went ahead and looked at it and looked at it and looked at it. It's just silly and it's needless, and it was very similar to a penalty yesterday in the Celtic game where Connor Goldson's not getting to this ball, just like I think it was Mikey Johnson yesterday, I don't know, somebody tweeted out to me, they showed me it. The guy pulled him down, he's never getting to it, but if you pull somebody down in the box, it's going to be a penalty in this VAR age. It's just what football actually is. That happened yesterday, he was never getting to it, penalty kick, Goldson's never getting to it, and then Tavernier's got to wait not only the 3 or 4 minutes for them to decide to give the penalty, he's then got to wait a wee bit to actually take it himself. And for me, the composure that man showed to step up. I mean, I called it that he was hitting it down the middle 100%. I said he's gone down the middle, and I waited. I never even watched Tavernier take it. I watched Roos. I was like, dive, because he's hitting it middle. And as soon as he dived, like that, droops, because I just knew he was going middle. Thankfully, Roos actually never. And aye, there was that fleeting smile on the face saying, right, bar, goalie save, sitter, got the penalty. We scored the goal. Let's see if we can maybe grab something else. And as we've already mentioned, troops, Lammers had the opportunity, he blew it. It's been the story of his Rangers career, and it ends Aberdeen 1, Rangers 1, which means we have now dropped 4 points. Aberdeen's took 4 points off us in our last 2 games played. That's right. Possible 6 points versus Aberdeen, which would have set us on a very nice aspect, has actually went 4 points to them, and aye, that's nowhere near good enough as a Rangers team. But again, Phil can only do what he can do. You know what I mean? There's boys that needs to be moved on, and that's what I'm taking for this game of football. Move them on. Let's stop turning our noses up to certain people because they play in Scottish football. Let's improve the squad with the most important job in football, and that's putting the ball into the back of net. I don't care how many twists and turns. I don't care if they can bring others into play. All I care about is the goal scorer in the Rangers jersey. And I'll look you right in the eyes right now. Who is it? I like Danilo, runs about, creates a lot. He's added such a spark to this Rangers team, but he's not a clinical out-and-out goal scorer either. He will get you goals, he will create things for us, and he is a very good player, but we need that other bit. You know what I mean? We've always had the good, maybe technical player that can do this and this, but we've always just had that guy that just walks about and scores goals. Where is he? Well, he could be wearing a maroon jersey in Scottish football in January, and hopefully not for too much longer. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. I want to know what you feel about the draw, where we are as a team, what will happen now that Phil has seen who has stood up who has shrunk, and will this knock or this disappointing result spark us in to doing some business in January that needs to be done? And genuinely, I feel like if Big Phil had a receipt that he could return for Clement, for Lammers and Dessers, I think he would take it. And the fact that Dessers never came on today showed that in my personal opinion. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. And as always, I'll be Sage92. I'll see you for European Magic, hopefully, troops. And until then, all the best and bye-bye.